Cheers, guys. Epix 911, welcome to the Sunday, March 19th, 2017 edition of VR News. I'm going to start with just a quick update on the Friday night show, the Gaming Friday edition of VR News. Exidy and I mentioned an upcoming Timeless Gamer pilot episode for the new channel. Had about half a dozen people ask about the link. Well, we indicated in the channel, but obviously did a poor job of it, that we would announce it when it was ready, that we would at least get the filming done. We have done that. That's in the bag. We just need to edit it. We were originally going to launch it on Exidy's channel, but we've decided not to muddy the waters, so it's going to be a third, neutral new channel that we both have access to. That makes the most sense logistically. So whatever day that is finished on, that evening's VR News, I'm going to provide the link and more details on where you can watch that episode. All right, let's start with Qualcomm's virtual reality development kits. These are the ones based on the Qualcomm Snapdragon 835. So originally they were using 825s. They modified that to 835. We had a news show about that a few weeks back. Now we're finally hearing when in 2017 we can expect to see some HMDs based on the reference design. And just to recap on that reference design, so again, these were the Snapdragon 835s, 6 degree of freedom tracking, 90 hertz, 2560 by 1440 AMOLED screens. Now those are the vibrant, rich, crisp screens. They are, simply put, pretty damn nice to look at. Field of view wise, they're going down Sony's path of 100 degree field of view as opposed to the Rift and Vive with their 110 degrees. 4 gigs of RAM, eye tracking, and hand tracking via Leap Motion's new mobile sensor. So those are the reference specifications. And if you haven't seen my previous news pieces on it, think of these units as falling kind of in between desktop VR, what you would get with the big three, and mobile, your Gear VR, your Daydream. Closer to the mobile, though, than they would be to the desktop. But that's kind of where you can picture them sitting. So they haven't announced who the brand names are behind the upcoming units in the second half, but they have mentioned the manufacturing OEMs that have gone through their accelerator program to be able to configure their facilities to manufacture the units. And those companies are Gore-Tech, and the other one is called Thundercom. So expect to hear that before we get to the second half of 2017. When we do, we'll announce that here. All right, we have some more statistics. And yeah, there's a part of me, guys, that isn't a huge fan of statistics because, and I'm not even going to get into it, but you guys know the expression about statistics. It's kind of how I feel about it most days. This, however, claims to be much more accurate than the ones at the beginning of 2016 because they take into account the actuals of 2016, which is great. But I still think they've kind of gone a little too aggressive in the later years. Let me explain. They have us going from 2.1 billion in 2016. Again, that's based on all the VR units out there in the entire VR ecosphere. 2.1 billion to 18.6 billion by 2021. So that's a huge leap of growth. Don't get me wrong, I hope that's accurate or ends up being accurate. I just can't help but thinking that it's a little too aggressive. Now, these numbers are coming to us from the International Data Corporation with the acronym IDC. So that's basically a 10-fold increase in VR units by 2021. So, next news story, the science fiction behind car manufacturer Volkswagen's virtual engineering lab. Now, what's cool about this lab is it uses some of the latest augmented, mixed, and virtual reality technology. They didn't get into the details on the VR tech that they're using, simply said they do use virtual reality for a lot of the 3D work that they end up doing. They did get into detail on some of the mixed stuff using the HoloLens, for example. And what they do with the HoloLens is the designers are able to project the virtual content onto an actual physical object. So they can quickly check things visually. Some of that stuff could be done on a screen, but now they have the ability to actually walk around the model, to see it scale-wise in a way that you just can't mirror on the screen. So with those HoloLens, they're able to project their design onto 1:4 ratio scale models of Volkswagen Golf. They can change colors, wheels, body parts, engine components, you name it, it can be changed, allowing them to quickly do stuff on the fly. And they can do all of that using simple gestures. So they've got that ability with their technology and voice commands. So very cool. And I'd be very curious if other car manufacturers like Ford, who has done an amazing job of modernizing since they had that trouble in 2008, 2009, I'd be really curious to find out if they also are using similar VR technology. So very cool. According to Volkswagen, they've been doing that for the last couple of years and plan on continuing its use, indicating that it's helped them streamline, lower costs, all kinds of advantages, and very few disadvantages. Next up, story and partial request, guys. Any of you that live in the northeast of the United States, near New England, specifically the Six Flags theme park, which is kind of right near the state border there. There is an existing coaster called the Mind Eraser. And this thing is being modified next month. It's going to run through to July 16th to be a VR coaster ride. So it's going to use the Gear VR headsets, and this is the Galactic Attack ride that I've talked about in the past. Well, now it's coming to that theme park. So if there's anybody who goes there in the spring or summer and you like coasters and you happen to see it, please take some pictures, video the ride itself. And yeah, I'm dying to find out and hear about what the experience is like. That would be awesome. So just some quick specs on this, guys. So it's a 96-second ride, so just over a minute and a half. Not crazy long, but not crazy short either. You reach a top speed of 55 miles per hour, which is about 88 kilometers per hour, and an elevation high of 109 feet. And you remember what I was saying about the fear of heights? Yet, I would climb on one of those. I'd be scared crapless, but I would do the ride. So, very cool. So yeah, anybody who gets a chance to go on one of those, please fill me in. Now this next story, and last, very cool because it has a local tie-in. So there's a company in Canada called Lincoln Electric. And what they've done is created a virtual reality arc welding training station. This thing sells for about $35,000 US, but apparently is doing amazing things for welding apprenticeship programs, training programs, upgrade programs. There's a story that I've linked below. A Washington State, so just below us here where I live, a high school. And usually high schools don't have this kind of money to throw around, so I don't know if they've got some rich benefactors or what. But yeah, they purchased this for their shop students. And the advantages, according to the instructor, are just numerous and pretty damn awesome. So they put this on, it cuts down the amount they've had to buy in material. So over time, it actually will pay for itself, not in all those intangible, hard to define areas, but directly cost-wise, because they can make the actual welding material, your solder, all that kind of stuff last that much longer and not have to buy as much. So it's cut that down. It's cut testing time down, instructor feedback, because the program can actually provide the feedback. Trying to find some video on this unit, but didn't have any luck with it. I'm sure there's some on Lincoln Electric's website. Just before I finished this story, I started looking through their website. I'll take another look because I just think that's cool. I've got a few people in my family that are into trades, one of who is a millwright who does do a lot of welding. So he found that story pretty damn cool. And the students are just loving this thing. So a 30-second turnaround for those students to find out what they've done incorrectly. Normally, they'd have to wait a lot longer for the instructor to get back to them. So very cool. All right, guys, that is it for this Monday. Still ahead, the gaming video, the once a week gaming summary video, and of course, the Timeless Gamers, but only for those interested. As always, guys, the work week once again about to commence. Cheers.